The Acts of the Apostles, chapter 21. And it came to pass that after we were gotten from them and had launched, so they're in the boat, we came with a straight course unto Cus, and the day following unto Rhodes, and from thence unto Patara. And finding a ship sailing over to Phoenicia, we went aboard and set forth. Now when we had discovered Cyprus, we left it on the left hand and sailed into Syria and landed at Tyre, for the ship was to unlade her burden. And finding disciples, we tarried there 7 days, who said to Paul through the Spirit that he should not go to Jerusalem. And when we had accomplished those days, we departed and went our way. And they all brought us on our way with wives and children till we were out of the city. And we kneeled down on the shore and prayed. And when we had taken our leave one of another, we took ship, and they returned home again. And when we had finished our course from Tyre, we came to Ptolemy, and saluted the brethren, and abode with them 1 day. And the next day we that were of Paul's company departed, and came into Caesarea, and we entered into the house of Philip, the evangelist, which was one of the 7, and abode with him. One of the 7 what? One of the 7 churches. And the same man had 4 daughters, virgins, which did prophesy. And as we tarried there many days, there came down from Judea a certain prophet named Agabus. And when he was come unto us, he took Paul's girdle, and bound his own hands and feet, and said, Thus saith the Holy Ghost, so shall the Jews at Jerusalem bind the man that owneth this girdle, and shall deliver him into the hands of the Gentiles. Uh-oh. They're saying he's going to kill him, bind him up. Then Paul answered, What mean ye to weep and to break mine heart? For I am ready not to be bound only, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Jesus. So there's other people who are getting messages of what's about to happen to him. He's like, I don't even care. I do not even care. He is ready to go any way out for the Lord. And when he would not be persuaded, we ceased, saying, The will of the Lord be done. So, and after those days we took up our carriages and went up to Jerusalem. There went with us also certain of the disciples of Caesarea, and brought with them one Nason of Cyprus. It's Mnason. Never heard that word. Mnason. This looks like where the Masons they've stolen this word maybe. One Mnason, one Mason of Cyprus, an old disciple with whom we should lodge. And when we were come to Jerusalem, the brethren received us gladly. And the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things God had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry, And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord and said unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law. And they are informed of thee that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses. Yeah, this is good because you see who this is now speaking. This is where I had the problem before in 15. This is James. See, in 18. In the day following, Paul went in with us unto James. Now remember what James started quoting Simon Peter, saying, "Oh, you don't got to follow the law. No, we're not here to burden everybody. No, don't worry about it." And Paul, well, he was going somewhere else with that Timotheus, and he's like, "No, you need to be circumcised before you go anywhere with me." Basically, not because he just for him own self, you have to be just circumcised, and then please let us go, right? But here, let us find out, because we've not heard about what happened over that difference in doctrine, and it looks like right now we're going to find out. So here again, we have James and Paul, right? Okay. All they are informed of thee, that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses. Okay, forsake. That's just ignore the law, right? Someone's telling someone else to ignore the law. I think this must be Paul speaking to James, right? Because basically, he told like two partial commandments and two like kind of Levitical, Deuteronomical statutes, but he did not tell people to follow Moses' law, which is shocking, right? Okay, because Jesus did not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. So let's see. This is very important now, because especially since Paul's saying he's about to die. So let's see what they get straightened out before that happens. Okay, and they are informed of thee that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the customs. So this is exactly what the problem that stuck out in 15. This is the exact problem, right? I was having an issue. Now that pen's broke. Isn't that weird? Sometimes it's like, it's not your pen, it's like the writing surface. Now look, this pen won't write where that pen stopped writing. So it's probably just the writing surface, right? Okay. This is an exact copy of what I read in 15 that freaked me out. Okay. Because I'm like, what are they going to do? They have different doctrine. What is going to come of that, right? Now, something's coming of it right now. Look at this pen. It won't even work. Okay, this is so serious, right? Because it's the law. And somebody's going around saying, "Oh, don't even bother with that. Don't bother with the Mosaic Law. The Mosaic Law in particular is the 10 Commandments, right? It's the first 5 books of the Bible. It is written by Moses. They are all written by Moses, and somebody's saying to forget them. And you do not have to circumcise your children, right? Okay, let's see what happens. I tell you what, that doesn't work either now. What is it, therefore? The multitude must needs come together, for they will hear that thou art come. Do therefore this, that we say to thee, we have 4 men, which have a vow on them. Them take, and purify thyself with them, and be at charges with them, that they may shave their heads. Oh no. Oh no. Look, there's a second broken pen. I'm going to start writing in here with the Sharpie. I'm getting upset. I will not do that. I'll have another one. Oh, no. They have 4 men. Okay, and we went over this because this is like an Egyptian religious thing to shave your head. So we have 4 very big. We have three huge problems. Right? Number 1, the law of Moses is being questioned, right? And I'm not going to even get into who's saying it to who. I'm assuming it has something to do with James, because back in 15 he said the same thing, right? And then then Paul turned around and did the opposite. So we're dealing with 3 things, right? We're dealing with the law of Moses, we're dealing with circumcision, and what's the third thing? All of a sudden, people are starting to shave their. This is idolatrous, right? At any rate, at any case, right? And nowhere does it say in the Bible to do that, right? Ever, right? In Leviticus or Deuteronomy. In fact, it warns against it. And I don't even think it's in there. I think it's in a prophet. And it's saying, do not do what these other people, shaving their heads for their gods. It's for their sun god or something like this, right? Or like even in death, right? It doesn't say shave your head in the law. It's nowhere. So this is bad. There are 3 things sticking out to me very strong, and I don't know what's going to happen. And they may shave their heads. They're telling him they have 4 men which have a vow on them. What do you mean a vow? What is a vow? You're not supposed to be doing that either. What do you mean a vow? So this is getting into some type of divination and mixing with other religion, because they're talking about shaving their head, right? And do you see how things happen? If things aren't right in the first place, look what happens. So already it was surprising when James was quoting Simon, who I'm guessing was Simeon. That's the exact word is written here. I don't know, is that Simon Peter? I don't know if that's somebody else, right? I have no idea, right? But that immediately was a problem, because he's saying, don't even worry about the law. And he's like blaming somebody who's not even there, which is kind of weird, right? In the first place, he's like, and you see how things like this can happen and snowball, right? And he's like, oh yeah, well, Simon Peter said, don't even worry about all that stuff. Just make sure, don't fornicate, don't strangle things, and stay away from blood. And don't have any other idols, right? That's all he said. And that's weird, right? It's not accurate. It's not the law. He's going to get in trouble for it. And now, this is 21, so this is 6 chapters later, right? And I think this is the same guy, James, saying this is what we're doing. And now, look how it snowballed. They're not just doing that. Now, from man's invention, what else could it be? It's purely from man's invention, the law created by man and not by God. And this is the whole thing this whole book's about. Okay, well now look, now somebody's shaving their head. For what? We don't know. They're taking a vow. A vow from who? A vow from Baal? A vow from Diana? Who? Who is this vow coming from? We don't take vows. We don't take oaths. You know what? That's a problem right there. They take the word vow, right? We've taken a vow. Okay, we read that part many times. You do not take oaths. And if I didn't read it, it's already just in my head from watching Midnight Ride. You don't take oaths. You don't do that. You don't ever do that, right? You follow the 10 Commandments, but no, you don't make deals. That's what Satan wanted to do with Christ, right? When he met him up on that mountain. He doesn't do that. That's when a third of the angels took an oath to the head one, I don't know, Satan, whoever, to all agree to stick together. You don't do that. You do not do that. So it's not just the shaving of the head, it says vows. Somebody took a vow, right? Okay, do therefore this that we say to thee. We have 4 men which have a vow on them. Did Baal come down and put a vow on him, a hex on him? This word is very strictly, we don't ever want to hear this word in the Bible. We don't need to make vows with anybody, right? You don't do that. You can make a promise, right? Like Joshua to like that lady who was it? Was it Rahab with the red cord and saved their life? And he's like, look, if you do this, right, I'm gonna hook you up, right? I'm not gonna forget you, like things like that. But just to make weird vow, that's a different word. Now, something is gonna happen. This is serious. As touching, this is bad. Let's read the end of 23. And all may know that those things whereof they were informed concerning thee are nothing, but that thou thyself also walkest orderly and keepest the law. Oh, I thought you threw the law out. Okay, this is getting confusing. I don't know who's talking to who. As touching the Gentiles which believe, we have written and concluded that they observe no such thing. Yeah, who did that? You, James. Save only that here we go. This is exactly what he said. That they keep themselves from things offered to idols, and from blood, and from strangled, and from fornication. Here he goes. Exact repeat of 15. Right? Then Paul took the men, and the next day, purifying himself with them, entered into the temple to signify the accomplishment of the days of purification, until that an offering should be offered for every one of them. Okay, I don't know who is creating this new law and allowing vows and shaved heads. I'm totally confused. I don't know why Paul isn't putting an end to it. But okay, let's just move on. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews, the days of purification, I don't know what that is. Is that supposed to be Passover? What's days of purification? I never heard of that one. But it's suspicious if it's 7 days, like 8 days are Passover, right? And they're talking about when the 7 days were almost ended. You know what is weird? Like, there's no way I could have read this any time before I read this and understood like anything. I feel like almost nearly, to be honest. But when you watch like enough stuff or understand like a certain amount of stuff, don't be scared to read it. And then you can always look up stuff, which I've not been doing because it's just, I have no excuse. I'm not. But this, like, you have to have, I think, a basic, like, if you don't know, and, well, I still don't, right? I don't know exactly, when it's supposed to be. And I don't even believe those people do. I think someone should just, there should be like a fair person who just like claims the harvest every year and whatever, so these dates can start. But people are using it to their own advantage, like these dates. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm really interested. Is there some other thing I don't know about? Some 7-day purification thing? And I'm sure I can't believe there is. I would have heard about it because I'd be very interested. And I have not heard anything about that. So what is the closest thing to that? The 8 days of Passover. What is this purification? Right? But can you imagine not knowing anything about even Passover and then trying to read this and being like, what does that mean? It's like there's already enough times in here. I'm like, I don't know. But it's like, I'm just trying. But I have to write everything in here that I don't know to look it back up. But I'm trying to just get through this because it's already the 16th and it'll be 2 years on the 31st. I don't know what these days of purification are. Anyway, and I don't know where they're not straightening this out over these days of purification. This problem they're having with this doctrine instruction. Why is it being changed? Jesus didn't say, I've come here for you to change the doctrine, right? No. So, this is why it's just easier for people to go, oh yeah, he changed the law. He died for all our sins. You can eat anything on the face of this earth. You can eat pork. You can eat, the garbage dwellers of the ocean that have every poisonous thing in their body. Yeah, and he didn't tell you not to eat that for no reason. There's probably strong genetic reasons. It changes it does something to you. He's not telling you not to eat it for fun. There are reasons. We don't even know. That's how I see it. I didn't even know. But if you find out and you have the ability to gather other food and you're not like food constricted and you have the ability to stay away from ham and stay away from bacon, it's like, why wouldn't, if you're trying to walk the path, why not? To me, it's like, it'll cover up for other things. Possibly. And even if it doesn't, right, so what? At least you're trying. I don't know what this purification is. I never heard of it. Like, this is page 620 of the Bible, and I can almost guarantee, right, that, that word has not been mentioned in this whole Bible pertaining to a type of feast day. Look what it says, accomplishment of the days of purification. What are you talking about? Did they create some new Jesus holiday? That's what I'm starting to think. Oh, that's what they're trying to do. I don't know. You see? I'm just being honest. But you have to have some kind of base to read this. It's like, whoa. Yeah, like, what are you talking about? There is no, like, that's how I see it now. Because I know I didn't read that word. Yeah, you read words like in Esther, the king has to, that was such a beautiful process, right? For like 2 years, the women that are brought to the king, like, they don't even go near him. They are purified, like, for 2 years straight. Right? It's like, there is no holiday named after purification. No. There's Purim, but that's about Esther and Haman and killing him whole family, the 10 of his brothers on sticks. No, that's not what this is about. So when you see a word that just jumps out strong to me, at least I have this ability, right? I don't know who all these people are and where all these places are, but something like that. And I think that'll happen to everybody because your mind, you will have things that stick out, things you'll remember, and it's just the best way to go. But I I don't know, when you can't really just tell people go read the Bible. You can't. You have to have people have to have some kind of framework. I feel you can't blame them. I didn't read it. I'm watching the YouTube for 2 years about it. I'm reading it. No, Holy Spirit. You gotta talk and you gotta pray to the Lord and ask for understanding. How are you supposed to understand any of this? To be honest with you. Okay. Now. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews which were of Asia, and when they saw him in the temple, stirred up all the people and laid hands on him. Oh, great. We're not even going to get this doctrine straightened out. Somebody's going to get killed first. Great. Crying out, men of Israel, help. This is the man that teacheth all men everywhere against the people and the law and this place. And further brought the Greeks also into the temple and hath polluted this holy place. For they had seen before with him in the city Trophimus, an Ephesian, whom they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple. And all the city was moved, and the people ran together, and they took Paul and drew him out of the temple, and forthwith the doors were shut. Oh, so they're finally laying their hands on somebody and not brokering it out. That's amazing. I don't believe it. I really don't. And as they went about to kill him, you know that commandment they have that says thou shalt not kill? Right. So we all know that's not being obeyed. And what else? That one, like they must have hopefully, I don't know which is worse, but they brokered out the death of Jesus. They tried to broker out the death of Stephen. No, who was it? This guy Gallio. It was Paul. They already brokered out the death of Paul. They're furious with him in 18. Right? And they beat Sosthenes instead. This Gallio, he's like, don't you ever bring this BS to me again. Don't even come near me with that. Now, they are very mad because the elder priest, Sosthenes, right, was beaten up. Probably the last time he was there. And this is why it's not a good idea for him to be there in particular. And they're ready to kill him. But at least, and it's not good, but to me, it's worse brokering out murder. It has to be. It's just so vile, right? At least they're doing it themselves. But it's like a whole group of them, right? So they're just insane. Tidings came upon the chief captain of the band that all Jerusalem was in an uproar, who immediately took soldiers and centurions, these are Romans, and ran down unto them. And when they saw the chief captain and the soldiers, they left beating of Paul. Is that what it says? They left beating of Paul. So when they saw the captain and the soldiers, they stopped, right? And God already said, just go into these places. Don't worry about it. Like, so he's about to get beat to death by these Jews. Finally, right? They're with their own hands. I think that's the first time that they're willing to do that. So they don't care for their commandments at all. What do they care if there's somebody else taking their job seriously? What do they even care? They're going around killing people, right? So it's one thing you're hypocritical, and then it becomes like you're lying in wait to murder people, right? And then it becomes, oh, you're not lying in wait to murder people. You're lying in wait to get other people to murder them, right? This is brokered out. And then you're just fed up and you just start killing them with your own hands. But your own Torah says, thou shalt not kill. That is a commandment, not kill, right? Meaning a human being, right? So maybe it's time they take a look and go, well, we're trying to go around killing people. And you know why they're doing it? It's just to keep their job and their fat stomachs, right? It's not because of understanding, because their logic is flawed. They're trying to continue killing somebody. For what? It's against your law. Whether you broker it out, whether you do it yourself. And the chief captain came near and took him and commanded him to be bound with 2 chains, and demanded who he was and what he had done. And some cried one thing, some another among the multitude. And when he could not know the certainty for the tumult, he commanded him to be carried into the castle. And when he had come upon the stairs, so it was that he was borne of the soldiers for the violence of the people. For the multitude of the people followed after, crying, away with him. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, may I speak unto thee? Who said, canst thou speak Greek? Art not thou that Egyptian, which before these days madest an uproar, and leddest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers? Oh, listen to this. What in God's name is he talking about? Is he talking about Moses? Hold on. So, art not thou that Egyptian, which before these days madest an uproar, and leddest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murdered? It's Herod. I thought he died. Didn't Herod die? What is going on here? You see, Herod is the king of Jerusalem. Oh, is it Herod that he's talking to? Oh my gosh. But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city. I don't think that means like mean bad. I don't know. No mean city. I don't know what that means. And I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people. And when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue, saying, uh-oh, wow, what is going on here? This is a mystery. So, I think he's back where they tried to persecute him the last time. And instead of persecuting Paul, they beat Sosthenes. the elder of the Jews, just for even bringing some dumb ass ish to them. But this is really confusing at the end, because it's about Paul was be led into the castle. He said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek? Art not thou that Egyptian, which before these days madest an uproar, and leddest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers? Not murdered, that were murderers. What in the world? What are they talking about? They got to be talking about Herod. Not Herod. I'm sorry. Ramses. Excuse me. He was the pharaoh during that time, right? Maybe. Herod was alive during Jesus. That was Ramses. But why are they talking about that? I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up, because that will bother me. But we still have not straightened out the law. This is like just, I'm glad they haven't dropped it. But at the same time, it's still not cleared up. This is a continuation of 15 about what will the doctrine be moving forward. Because you have this guy James talking about the law's been dropped. I don't know what this word MNASON is. That's weird. And I don't know what they are talking about the 4,000 men that were murderers. Is he talking about the Jews that were let go from Egypt, and he's just calling them all murderers? Perhaps this is how, I don't think he's in Rome. But maybe that's how everybody saw them, the Jews. Like, they're like, oh yeah, those are those people that their God, they escaped from Egypt, the 4,000 of them, and they're all just murderers. What in the world are they talking about? Like, I have no idea. I'm going to have to look that up, because that is just out of place to me. It is so strange. I'm going to try to read as much as I can.